Hey, good morning, friends. Happy Friday to you. This morning for our pick-me-up, I'm wanting to share a word that really challenges me, a concept, an idea that I bump up against over and over and over again. Although I find it very encouraging, I've been reading in Psalms again, and not a particular verse, but there is this theme that has kept popping up for me over the last couple weeks, over and over again, concerning weakness. How often we find the Psalms and all throughout Scripture of people who are feeling weak, crying out to God and asking Him to intervene and come to their aid, come to their rescue. And we find God responding in kind toward their weakness. Over and over again, we find Jesus stepping in on behalf of the lowly, the marginalized, the weak in every way, shape, or form. God delights in stepping into our weaknesses, but how much am I willing to embrace that or embrace my own weaknesses? And instead, I want to maybe pretend they're not there or overcompensate for them, or I would just rather forget about them. I want to concentrate on my strengths and on places that I have overcome. I mean, everyone loves a good overcoming story. No one loves a good weakness story. But this last week, I was studying a little bit of the life of Paul, and of course I came across his famous verse in 2 Corinthians 12:9 that says, "My grace is sufficient, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." For one who struggles with self-sufficiency, I confess, this is a challenging word for me, just the idea of boasting in my weakness. Boy, can you do that? Are you there? I know I'm not. But this verse says, my grace is sufficient. God's grace toward us, meaning us not getting it together at all, and instead His grace covering us where we don't have it together. And He's the one that says, that's enough. That in itself is sufficient. And His power is made perfect in our weakness. If we're not leaning into our weaknesses, or if we're hiding them, we're not giving the opportunity for God's power to be shown through us or in us. Boy, I would rather have God's power manifest in my life rather than my own. Right? I mean, we can all admit our own power is more like smoke and mirrors. But God's power, shown even more through our weaknesses, how great is that? So, friends, as we go about this week, just a simple thought to challenge us with is, do you know what your weaknesses are, and how comfortable are you leaning into those and relying on God's strength to help you through them, rather than hiding them, or rather than covering them up or trying to overcompensate for them? But do you lean into them and say, God, this is where I need you to come into my life. I need your grace covering me here. Not to feel shame for my weakness, but to just accept your grace where you have it for me in this place. Can you do that this week? Can I do that this week? Let's lean into our weaknesses as places where God's power can come in and shine stronger all through it, rather than our own. Take comfort in that. Be encouraged by that thought this week, and have a great Friday.